If you're tired of being busy but still being stuck, then this video is for you. Hello everyone. Today we are having a conversation around productivity. And here's how you know this video is for you. You constantly find yourself struggling to meet deadlines and targets. You struggle with procrastination and you're used to always putting things off. You find out that you're not able to give proper attention and focus to a task. And also, you have not been able to find a productivity system that actually works for you. Let's fix that in this video today. You are in good hands because in this video, we're going to be having a conversation around what productivity really is, what productivity is not, and we're going to also be helping you create a productivity system that actually works for you. The first conversation we're going to be having today is what productivity is not. And in this conversation, we're just going to be busting some productivity myths or things we believe about productivity but are not actually true. The first thing we're talking about is that productivity is not about perfection. For many people, they want to have everything figured out before they start that journey of productivity or before they start to intentionally get productive. But the truth is that clarity comes in taking action. Clarity comes in the doing. And so if you do not take that first step, you will never be able to get to that point of consistent progress. So I'm challenging you today to start messy and improve along the way. The second thing is this: productivity is not about business. Many people mistake movement for progress, but that is not always the case. The fact that you're always being seen, the fact that you're always in front of people's faces or you're always up and about does not mean that you're actually being productive. So productivity is not about just business, but it's more about channeling your attention, your focus, your time in a way that aligns with your value systems and the goals that mean the most to you. The third thing is that productivity is not a one-size-fits-all. The truth is that what works for me may not work for you. We are very different. We are in different seasons. And this is something that you have to come to agreement with. That you cannot just pick up somebody else's productivity system and assume that it's going to work that way for you. We are all in different seasons. We are all in different phases of life. And what works for one person may not work for the other. Taking it further into that conversation, let me give you a vivid example of what I mean. Sometime last year, I took a professional course to grow in my career. And while I got into that program, one of the things I told myself was that I'm not necessarily here to be a star student. I just want to learn everything that I need to learn, get my certification, and be gone. I was able to really tell myself that this is the goal, or these were the goals that I wanted to achieve with the program. Why many other people had the time to do the work to actually become star students, that was not my focus in that season because I had a lot of demands in that season. And this is not to say I wanted to do mediocre work or I wanted to do work that was substandard. But let me explain. One of the things that happened in the program was that we will always have live classes on Mondays, and these live classes will run for 2 hours or more. What I did was that rather than attend the live classes, because I knew that my schedule was packed, I would wait. After the live classes, I would get the replay and I would watch at a speed of 1.5 because I knew that my tutor was not a very fast talker. So that way, I'm able to get the most of the course, get the most of the conversation without spending as much time as a normal student would. These are things you can start to begin to pay attention to. What is this season of your life demanding of you? Because that conversation is what will lead you to actually creating a system that works for you specifically. The next thing we want to talk about is this. Many people feel that productivity means that you're going to be motivated at all times. But the truth is that there are certain times where your motivation will be low. And that's why having a system that works for you specifically is very important. Do not think that at every point in your productivity journey, you're always going to be motivated to get things done. You're going to be motivated to want to put in the work and do what you need to do. And the truth of the matter is that the things that would save you when you get to that point of low motivation or low drive are the systems that you've been able to create for your productivity, as well as your sense of purpose or your sense of why. I spoke about a sense of why in my previous video, where I talked about consistency and building consistency. But let me just touch on that a little bit more. When we talk about a sense of why or purpose, you have to understand that for productivity to actually be productivity, it has to be tied to a goal. There has to be something you are looking at. There has to be a target. There has to be a reason for why you're committing to the process or why you're trying to build that system in the first place. And what will keep you going is that sense of why. The second thing is the systems that you have built. The truth of the matter is that when you have a system, a productivity system that works for you, it's easier for you to keep going despite the odds that are not in your favor or despite the setbacks or the challenges that you face, because the system is already running in a way that favors you. Another myth that you need to bust is that multitasking helps you do much more, or multitasking is a productivity hack. The truth is that multitasking will only make you do work that is not effective or make you do work that is substandard. And we don't want that. There was a time in my life when I remember I took a personality test of some sort. I can't remember the particular one now. And it was said that I was a multitasking maven. I like to touch on different things. And I started to really observe my patterns. Take, for example, cleaning my house. I realized that, okay, when I decide that I want to clean up my space, I'll probably say I'm going to start from the bedroom. And then I start cleaning out maybe my table in the bedroom. And then I find something that is supposed to be in the parlor. I take that thing from the table in the room. I step into my sitting room. And then trying to drop it off, I see that the parlor is a mess. And then I start cleaning the parlor, forgetting that I'm not done with the room yet. And it creates this sense of confusion in my mind and tiredness about the chore in itself. And so I started to get on that journey where I purposely would finish up one task before getting to doing another task, and it doubled my productivity level in ways that I could never have imagined. So I'm telling you for free today that multitasking is not always effective. Focusing on one task per time is what will help you really step into that place of high performance, effectively do your work, and also do your work in a way that it aligns with your core purpose. This is probably the last myth I will bust today. But many people think that rest takes away from your productivity time. The truth of the matter is that rest is required because it is energy or serves as energy for your productivity. And if you're not resting enough, you will not be productive. You will not do effective work. You will not do work that aligns with your value system. There was a particular day I was working on something. I had a to-do list because I always use to-do lists. I had a to-do list for that day, and there are certain tasks that I wanted to carry out. And I told myself, if I do not finish this task, I will not sleep. And I did not know that I was setting myself up for failure by saying that or doing that. I pushed myself to complete everything I had to do, and then I went to sleep. The next morning, when I was reading through something that I had written down, content I wanted to create for my newsletter, I asked myself, did I actually write this? It was so void of personality, it was so void of authenticity, and I was really shocked at the quality of work that I produced. But then it goes to tell you that when you're not resting enough, or when you do not rest enough, you will never be able to carry out activities in a way that is authentic. You will never be able to create something that is actually effective or work that actually speaks to you truly. So it's important that you always incorporate rest into your schedule, incorporate rest into your plan, because it actually doubles your productivity level more than you can ever imagine. So now that we have spoken a bit about, or we've spoken extensively about what productivity is not, and we've bust some myths, let's talk about what productivity actually is. Productivity, like I already mentioned, is being able to intentionally channel your time, your energy, and your attention in a manner that helps you do work that aligns with your value systems and also aligns with your purpose or your core goals. This is a very important definition because it takes away that conversation of it's just mere activity or it's just merely trying to get things done. No, productivity is more than that. There is a sense of purpose, there is a sense of goals to be achieved that is supposed to be tied to that system. And if those things are missing from your system, it means that you're not actually being productive. Now that we have a sense of what productivity is, let's move into different perspectives of productivity. And this is what I mean. Many times when we talk about productivity, it's not just about productivity, long-term productivity. Sometimes it can also be short-term productivity. So productivity can be long-term or short-term. And here's what I mean by that. When we talk about long-term productivity, we talk about productivity that helps you carry out tasks, helps you carry out activities that are in line with the goals that you want to achieve on the long run. While short-term productivity speaks more to those immediate targets, those immediate deadlines that you have to meet, that help you just cross off certain important tasks from your list. I need you to also realize that sometimes productivity may mean productivity to you, but will not mean productivity to somebody else. Especially when you're working in an environment where you have to report to somebody, or you're working for somebody. You also have to be able to learn what productivity actually means to that person, because that is the only way that you will be productive in that context. So sometimes productivity may not mean productivity to the other person, but means productivity to you. And because the person's goals are more important in that context, you have to pay attention to what they actually need from you in that season. And here's an example, a very vivid example. When I started working in customer relations management, one of the things that we do in that space is mainly sales and marketing. And one of the biggest goals of my company is to make sure that we're always making profit and we are always increasing or improving on our revenue month in, month out. And in that first few months when I worked there, I remembered I did not properly ask the right questions as touching what do my bosses really desire, what do they want to achieve, so I can align my goals or align my productivity to match their goals. What I decided to do was I decided to pay attention to communications, because I realized that my communication with customers was very important in the company, right? And as much as it was important to my bosses, it was not at the priority list of what their desires were in that season, because they were trying to get the company to be profitable. And so I remember I had a conversation with my team leader, and she said, your communication is very great. Whenever we see an email that you send out, it always stands out. But you need to understand that we need to make sales. And so you have to place more emphasis or attention on marketing and getting these customers to buy. So you see, in that season, I thought I was being productive because I was working on my communication skills. But what was on the priority list of my employers and my team lead was sales and marketing and making sure that customers buy. So if you find yourself in a work situation or in an environment where you're reporting to somebody, always ask them questions about what their goals are, and then work towards aligning your productivity or your activities with the things that they actually desire, because that's the way to actually remain and become productive. Again, this conversation is just to help you paint a picture of the fact that sometimes your productivity is not necessarily tied to your own goals, but tied to the goals of the people that you report to or the people that you work for. So it can go both ways. So one thing I want you to do is listen to these points over and over again and tell me what is standing out for you in the comment section. I really want to hear from you. What are the things that you believed that productivity was before? And what are the new things that you're learning about productivity? This is not a conversation to rush, because there are so many things or so many valid lessons I believe that would help you begin to create that system that works for you. And so in my next video, we're going to be sitting into the conversation around productivity archetypes. You know how we have personality types, how we have brand archetypes and the rest of them. I believe that we also have productivity archetypes, and I've created a specific framework just for you that would help you really begin to see what category you fall into, what your approach to work is, what your approach to tasks are. These conversations will help you really understand what your productivity archetype is. And then from there on, we will now help you build specific systems that will help you consistently work at a level of high and peak performance. Look out for that conversation in my next video. I look forward to it, and I know that this video will give you all the value that you need to become the person that you'll be proud of, and will become someone who is not just busy, but is actually making progress. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Have a beautiful day. Bye.